Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Inky Swamp Boy and today I'm making some Christmas decorations out of Hama beads, inspired by Steven Universe characters. Just want to show you one I did earlier of Steven's face. It was a bit of a difficult one to work out as a design because it didn't really work with the thick black outline the character has in the show, so I had to go with a lineless design, but I think it worked out in the end. He looks cute and happy and excited for the holidays. The one I'm doing in this video is Cookie Cat from Steven Universe, well, the first episode of Steven Universe. I guess a pretty minor part of the show at this point, but I really like the design. I also thought it would look cute because it's a Christmas tree decoration, and I feel like cookies are something which fit in well with a Christmassy theme. So the thing about these beads is, it's very similar to pixel art, which is why a lot of people use it to make figures of 8 and 16-bit video game characters. So I find it useful to plan out a design by getting a reference picture of the image I'm making and pixelating it. Luckily, my current phone has an option in the image editor to pixelate the image, so it's very quick for me to do, and this has been so helpful as a tool. Don't feel bad about needing references, it's really helpful for this kind of art. I think the real name of Hama beads is fusable bead, or some people just call them melty beads. They're the same thing as perler beads or whatever brand you might have, depending on where you live. Basically, they're a kind of little plastic bead you lay out on a pegboard and make into a design, and then you melt them together with an iron. I know some people find this process very fiddly, but I enjoy it. When you get into it, there's something very calming about just putting down bead after bead, filling in big areas of colour, putting down lines. It's nice. You might be able to see the tweezers on my workstation. I do find those very useful for when I've put one bead in the wrong place or need to rearrange something. That is one part of the process that is kind of fiddly. It might be better if you have long fingernails. Mine are very short, so I struggle a lot picking these things back up. It's really satisfying when you start to see the image coming together. It's difficult seeing it up close, especially since the beads have little gaps between them, so it's not a really clear, coherent image. I kept looking through the viewfinder on my camera to get a look at it as I went. I really like how much depth I could get from just 5 colours of beads. At this point, I need to melt it all together. I had to carefully, very carefully, so I don't send beads everywhere, put a tea towel under it to protect the work surface underneath. Legitimately the most nerve-wracking part of the whole thing, since I have sent beads flying everywhere at this point before. Anyway, so I covered it with some baking paper, smoothed it down and pressed it with the iron. I carefully checked it, but it hadn't all melted, so I went again. I think I actually went a bit hard and melted it too much here. The iron was suddenly a lot hotter than it had been before. The middle part of the image ended up much more fused together than other parts. Serves me right, I guess, for being impatient and starting ironing before the iron was fully hot. I took the piece off the board and luckily it all came off easily and in one piece. The next step is optional, but I like to do it, which is to iron the other side of the beads. I prefer it aesthetically because it makes both sides look the same, and also it makes it a lot stronger and less bendy, which is good for a hanging decoration. It doesn't need as much ironing this time, just a quick press. I probably do it more than you need to here, because I prefer how it looks when it's a bit more melted. I know other people like to be able to see the beads more, but I'm less of a fan, especially when it's an image that's a little harder to understand when it's turned into like the pixel art style. When it's hardened a little bit, I use a piece of ribbon to make a loop to hang it from. I tried to leave a couple of the beads at the top with a bigger hole still in them, so I'd be able to thread the loop through, but I forgot to leave as big a gap as I usually do. It worked out fine, I just had to pull it through with the tweezers. To be honest, if you don't want to use a ribbon, it'd be tons easier, but I wanted it to look fancy because it's a Christmas tree decoration. And yeah, I think the finished one looks really cute. After I finished filming the main part of this video, I wanted to make more of these, so I made a peridot in a Santa hat. The angle on this one was a little harder to get across, especially since there's more going on in the image. But I got to use these see-through kind of translucent beads for her visor glasses thing, which I think looks really cool. Makes me want to try and get more of the other kinds of beads you can get. There's loads with glitter in them. Like, I love that kind of thing. The kinds of crafts I'd have also loved as a kid. I haven't really changed that much. Thanks for watching if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. If you'd like to, please drop a like, subscribe to my channel, press the bell for post notifications, and stay tuned for hopefully more holiday themed crafts. I want to try out some more in the next few weeks. See you soon, bye!